Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah!
We got it! We got it!
New 52 booklet.
Somebody clip this one.
Welcome to Under Two Capes. I am Jared. I'm here with Nick from the Phoenix Press. What's up, man?
Fucking bad man.
Hell yeah. And today we are discussing a very interesting topic here. So in the same way that I'm sorry, I was a little distracted because I just got news that the Halo TV show has been canceled. Wow.
Master
Okay,
Chief,
then.
Master Chief, you gonna tell me what you're doing, sir? Canceling
Not finishing
the
this
show.
fight. So,
There's your tweet. There's your tweet.
yeah, I'll probably end up doing that later. So anyway, continuing on. So in the same way that we talked about in the past 2 weeks, we've talked about why Superman doesn't sell and why Wonder Woman doesn't sell. And Taladia is just got here. What's up, dude? And so today we are discussing why Batman sells, because we've talked about it throughout the last 2 weeks of episodes, why that Batman always outsells like Superman, Wonder Woman, and practically finances all of DC. So you could say Bruce Wayne walked into DC headquarters. He goes, I'm buying this comic book company and I'm setting a new policy surrounding how many Bat books are put out.
In other words,
Yeah, go ahead.
More.
So, all right. So now, Nick, I'm going to ask you first. What's one of the reasons why you think Batman always does really well?
Well, I think this is gonna be a hot take, but Batman as a character is essentially a Marvel character, and in the essence of he's human, he can be broken, beaten, and he's relatable to a degree. Like obviously he's a billionaire and whatnot, but the fact, like, some of the best Batman stories are Batman is shot, and he needs to get 3 blocks, like 13 blocks, nursing this gun wound. He's bleeding out, but he still has to beat criminals. You know, like I always talk about, like the quintessential story, and to me that is the quintessential Batman story. Is Batman struggled not just against the criminals, but himself, his body, his spirit, his mind, and we love those stories of a person overcoming themselves. Like, why do you think the Nightfall storyline is so successful?
Yeah, and the thing about Nightfall is that he actually recovered like real time. It wasn't like in the Dark Knight Rises where it's like, okay, so I'm gonna break your back, and then I'm just gonna hang you up on ropes and punch you in the spine, and you're all good. I'm like,
and do a bunch of sit-ups
and push-ups. I'm like,
No.
yeah, that ain't happening, bro.
Well, the other thing I like about
that-
Nightfall
Mhm.
is Batman had to reclaim the mantle of the Bat.
Yeah, true. It shows Batman admits his mistakes, because remember, Bruce is the one who appointed John Paul Valley as Batman, and then when he saw how much of a mess John Paul was doing, because he was secretly like programmed to do the orders to Saint Dumas, when he saw what a crazy person Azrael was, he was like, okay, nope, I made a mistake. I have to reclaim the mantle. It was actually kind of cool. I like the scene in Nightfall when Dick Grayson goes to Batman and he goes, you went to a total stranger, but you didn't come to me. And Grant Morrison is like, I will soon shoot Batman with Omega beams, and we will do that. We will see. But it's a lot.
About 10 years or so, but yeah.
Exactly. So Taladia, how about you? Why do you think Batman always sells really well?
Because since it's the Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns,
yes,
he became popular because of dark and gritty, and on top of that, he had all the cool gadgets. And you got to remember, at the time of the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, he started to become more and more popular, and Superman was pushed to a side. because of the gadgets and all of that, and people wanted that type of stuff,
Mhm.
and it wasn't campy. So
Yeah,
you know,
the '89 movie really shot him into a whole new stratosphere.
Yeah, the other thing about Batman is that on that note, Taladia, it's kind of, I think it kind of plays into people's love for like James Bond, Jason Bourne, and all that stuff. Because when you think about it, Batman is like the super spy. I mean, he's essentially James Bond in a bat suit.
I mean, Jared? What is Batman's superpower?
I'm rich.
Okay, I knew you'd take the bait. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Zack Snyder, for the best Batman line ever. But it's very true, because with Batman, it's like, what can be solved? That there was this great episode of 30 Rock when they're doing like a presidential election, and then one of the people says, "There's some things money can't do," and then Alec Baldwin's character goes, "Don't say that in front of the pile of money." Exactly. So it's like, yeah, it's
You'll
like
hurt the money's feelings.
Yeah, in the superhero world, in the comic book world, there's little cash can't do. And
I mean, that also in the real world. World, the few things money can't buy.
Yeah, exactly. But so before I advance the conversation, I want to say there was this great meme that I saw that's like a kid crying, and it goes, "When you say that when you grow up you want to be Batman, but you know what must be done."
Oh, there's another great, if we're talking about great Batman memes, one of my favorites is, "My boss said dress for the job you want, not the one you have. Now I'm in an HR meeting dressed as Batman."
I mean, not wrong. Now, the other thing about Batman is, granted, there are plenty of times when like, wait, we have two Taladias. There is a clone of Taladia.
Where's the clone?
It's right. It's in the. I have no idea. Wow. But anyway,
Clone Wars.
Begun the Taladia Wars have.
Yeah, exactly. But continuing on, the thing about Batman is that, in addition to that, it's like to our point. It's like, yeah, I can't be Superman because I'm not from another planet. I can't be Wonder Woman because I'm a dude and I'm not I'm not like empowered by the gods. I can't be Green Lantern because I don't have a ring. Conceivably, if you had enough money, you could be Batman.
Which then reminds me of another Batman meme. It's like, of all the billionaires in the world and none of them has become Batman, that is very disappointing.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that, we're gonna find out Elon Musk is secretly Batman this entire time?
Oh my god, if I ever interview Elon Musk, I'm gonna ask him if he's Batman, and he's gonna have a ball answering that question.
I'm gonna ask Jeff Bezos if he's secretly Lex Luthor, or if the reason why he went to space is because he's trying to find kryptonite.
But mind you,
sorry, go ahead, Claudia.
I was going to say, mind you, Batman is the second smartest person in the whole of the DC universe.
Arguably, I would say smartest, because it takes a lot to be able to figure out the weaknesses of every single Justice Leaguer. Lex has never done that. As far as I know, let me be clear. As far as I have read, he's never done that. I have to add that addendum because I don't want it to seem like, unlike comic book Twitter, that I know everything. I know most, but I don't know everything.
No.
I am still the Lord of Comics.
I do know the best ships. Let's be honest, though.
Yes, I do. But continuing on, so one of the things is, so then you also have the fact that, and this is, see, the next thing I'm going to talk about is what I think Batman kind of did to DC. Thanks, Nick. That maybe has hurt DC, arguably, is the introduction of like superheroes having their own families, like the Bat family. I say hurt because DC apparently got it in their heads that if it worked for Batman, it'll work for like every DC character, like Superman. Why does anyone try and commit crimes in Metropolis if there's 5 gods?
Yeah, the Superman thing is like they've tried multiple times. Like there's been multiple times, like throughout Superman's history, it's like every 10 years they try and give him like an extended family, and it just never works out. The only other Superman character that actually works beyond Clark is Supergirl.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Crypto, and maybe Crypto is more of like, oh, hey, he's got a dog and he's Kryptonian, but that's about it.
Well, and DC knows that because one of the things is that like back pre-Crisis, Superman had like a horse, Comet the Super Horse. He had a monkey, and the thing about it is that when Crisis came about, they were like, none of this works. Get rid of it. Granted, they also killed Kara, and this is what led to Matrix Supergirl that Lex Luthor was dating. It was really, really, really weird, but
bringing it back to Batman.
Yeah. Go ahead. I know. Thank you. Talani is keeping us on track. Go ahead, Tal.
I was going to say that another reason why Batman sells is because people want to be able to experience playing the Bat, right? For example, in video games.
Yeah.
In the video game, people want to be the playboy billionaire, be able to be Batman punching people and all of that, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? It gets people immersed in that world because if you think about it, you are Batman essentially.
I'm Batman.
It's kind of like you're kind of like a simulation. Just thinking about it.
Yeah, kind of. It's like we're gonna find out like all the Arkham games are like Batman training simulators this whole time.
Yeah,
how
exactly.
far does this go? Just like we're gonna find out that Cobra Kai was just like we're gonna find out that Cobra Kai was actually Batman's training program for all of his Robins this entire time. I'm calling it.
Yeah.
Find out more tomorrow on the Friday Night Frenzy.
Exactly. So it's kind of interesting with that. But the thing about it is that so with Batman having a Robin, so that came about because DC realized that, hey, kids are reading comics. They might want a character that they can like see themselves in having these adventures. So let's get Robin. This is where Dick Grayson first showed up. The problem is, so Robin left and became Nightwing. And despite what Bruce Timm wants you to think, it was not because Batman slept with Batgirl. But I will say one thing. That's a
little bit farther down the line, but yeah.
No, I know. But I will say, so it's kind of interesting. So now that Crisis wiped the DCAU, guess what? That never happened.
Until Bruce Timm decides to resurrect him.
You see, Nick is right. He's right. It's fine, Talani, because you know what? Nick is absolutely right.
No, but
it doesn't exist until somebody decides it exists again.
Bruce Timm will still be the pervert that he is. But anyway, continuing on. The thing about it, so he leaves and becomes Nightwing. Then you have Jason Todd, which fans hated at first because he was a carbon copy of Dick Grayson. Then when they made him like different, they were like, he's too edgy and anxious. Let's use bots at the time and like call DC and tell them to kill him because they had like a phone contest. They did it, and then we got
okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me just I need to explain that whole insanity.
Yeah, go ahead.
So they did a phone poll. Like nowadays, like if think of it like the polls you have on Twitter. Like imagine DC putting up a poll said, "Should we kill Jason Todd? We will abide by the results of this poll." Okay, but instead you had two different phone numbers. All right, save Jason Todd, kill Jason Todd. All right, and these were 1-900 numbers, which means you actually got charged to call these numbers. If I'm sure many kids got their butts beat by their dad, but
yes.
So the people called in and they vote. I think it was like a matter of like a difference of like a couple hundred votes, like around 500 or so votes was a difference. And Jason Todd has decided he got killed. Now they did actually draw up an alternative version, which they only recently published that, which I actually have a copy of, where a version where Jason lived. Mm-hmm. Sorry.
Yeah. And so he died up until the point. So he became one of the three characters that would never be allowed to come back. Jason, Bucky Barnes, and Uncle Ben. All three of which have come back to life in some form or fashion.
Uncle Ben is still the holdout. Uncle Ben
multiverse counts.
No, I'm saying permanently come back or whatever. like temporarily just making a cameo, I don't count.
I do, but okay. But the point is, the point is, Robin came back and became Jason Todd and was a villain until the New 52, when they decided, okay, so let's actually have him be like kind of the Punisher, but let's have him team up with Artemis and Starfire. Yeah.
Oh no, it was Arsenal and Starfire, but
I'm sorry. It's essentially
you're missing the best part. Tell them how Jason was initially resurrected. Initially.
Oh, this is great. This is another New 52 fixed. So at the same time, you had Infinite Crisis was going down. How does this happen at the same time as Infinite Crisis? I don't know. It's DC.
Comics.
Exactly, it's comics. In the most comics thing ever, Superboy Prime is in the Paradise Dimension, which is a dimension that apparently you can look out and see like the real world. And he's watching like the death of Superman, Wonder Woman snapping Maxwell Lord's neck, Nightfall, and he's like, "This is not the way superheroes supposed to be." Boosh! And he punches the wall, shatters reality, and he resurrects Jason Todd. So you can say that Jason Todd was punched back to life.
And people say that Superman wouldn't be able to beat Goku.
Exactly. But anyway, continuing on.
Can Goku punch reality?
Yeah, but continuing on, the thing about it is, so the New 52 was like, the Lazarus Pit exists. Just use that. And I'm like, yeah, actually, that works a lot better than just punching reality.
Yeah, and if I were to comment, I think it's perfectly in character because, especially if you had like, Roz wasn't really involved in the initial death of Jason Todd, but making him the one to hire the Joker, and Joker went too far, and Roz feeling bad resurrecting Joker. That does actually feel pretty in character for Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, and the movie was actually pretty good. And then it wasn't just that. It was after we brought him back, Ra's was still so guilty that he said, "I'm never going to war with you in Gotham again." I don't know how long that lasted, but
5 minutes later.
5 minutes later, detective, I need you to come and take your rightful place at my side. No. Okay, we're back on war.
Yeah, and the thing that I like about the New 52 version is they give him a backstory where it's like, oh, he goes to this other super secret ninja organization called the All Cast, which kind of, puts him right.
Wait, didn't they also have a relationship between him and Talia?
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he had a relationship with a girl in the All Cast, because I did read the initial 12 issues of Red Hood and the Outlaws, which weren't bad. I swear, people, they just see like that one pic of...
Yes, they did. They had a brief fling.
Oh, okay. To be fair, Talia is a bit of a loose woman, so...
But she's significantly older than... What is with DC? Did John Byrne write this?
See, Talia is a weird character because she's very bipolar. Like they don't know if she's like a supervillain or if she's actually a good person. Like it's depending on the person writing her, but like she's either like a really like, oh, I am not my father, whereas I am my father, but with other bits.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem with it. It's like when you go to like, because you know why the whole Talia as a legit super villain, I think, and Nick, you can correct me on this if I'm wrong. I think that was started by Morrison. I think.
Yeah, the problem. Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Is Talia doesn't really have consistent writing, but she does the writing does tend to lean her more on the evil side. Like for example,
she's a good character, because when she's like a morally ambiguous character, she's actually a pretty decent character.
Yeah, I mean, Batman does tend to be attracted to the morally gray women. I mean, look at Catwoman. Yep,
even though in my mind, Catwoman works better for Batman than Talia, because Talia's the type that seems like she will stab you in your sleep. But anyway.
I mean, she certainly put something in his drink.
Yeah, exactly. And then I love how later writers were like, nope, retcon. He wasn't drugged.
Look, God forbid a woman actually do something heinous.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
So Batman Under the Red Hood, is that canonized to the New 52 now?
Yes, it is. So with the new 52, it was if it was popular, it was canon, which is why most, if not all, of Batman and Green Lantern were canon to the new 52. It just scrunched it into 5 years, and I think they later
Okay.
expanded it to 10 years.
Okay, I had to ask
If they had
because
said
there was
10 years in the beginning, it would have made more sense. It would have still been tight.
I'm sorry, 5 years to have everything happen was just pure.
Exactly, which is why if they had told me everything happened in 10 years, I could buy 10 years. Not 5 years, 10 I could definitely buy. But anyway, the other thing about Batman that I think works is, going to Batman movies, I think, like, again, the reason why Batman sells because because people love spy movies. That's why they keep making James Bond movies. And Batman is the easiest for the general audience to latch onto because of the no powers of the and of the gadgets, and like he's one of those characters that's like iconic enough that you don't have to keep doing the origin story anymore. He's like Superman. Yeah, this is the one thing that James Gunn is doing right, is that he's not showing like the Krypton blowing up, because at this point, Superman's origin, Batman's origin. Even the MCU, they were like, Spider-Man's origin at this point.
Yeah, they had one little scene of them walking. That's like, oh, you got bit by like a radioactive spider, and like, well, where's the spider? Oh, it's gone. Like literally, it was like 2 or 3 lines in like a 30-second scene. That was his origin.
Yeah, so it's go ahead, Claudia.
I think James Gunn won't do the origins of Batman again. I think he's pretty much he won't do that. I think what he might do though is the origins of Damian Wayne, though. I'm gonna put that out there.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's like Brave and the Bold. I'm thinking that story is just going to be the first arc from Grant Morrison, which is essentially the new not new 52. It's essentially the Son of Batman arc.
Oh, this reminds me. I remember I saw this tweet from like an Uncle Ben parody account. He's like, "Stop rebooting Spider-Man. I'm tired of getting shot."
Yeah.
It's a similar thing with Batman, and Thomas Wayne's like, "Stop rebooting Batman. I'm tired of getting shot."
Mm-hmm. I saw this hilarious thing, like how in the old Spider-Man games you could web swing anywhere. I love when someone's like, "Where is who's holding the webs?" And someone goes, "Uncle Ben's angel."
Oh God.
Yeah, there you go. But continuing on, so now let me ask you guys this. What would you guys say in terms of comics? Let's go with that first. Is the definitive Batman like
Hush?
Hush? Yeah. I was about to say that because Talati, your thing of like the definitive Batman story, and then we can like discuss them.
Okay, so my definitive Batman story would have to be. Does it include animation as well?
Comics first.
Comics, okay. Okay, in terms of comics, Court of Owls.
That works too. Now, here's why and Nick, I think I think you and I chose Hush for the same reasons. Because Hush is basically a who's who of the Batman world. It's like, here's Catwoman, Superman, here's Poison Ivy, here's most of Batman's well-known rogues. And that's why, going back to like last week's discussion on Wonder Woman, if they did a story where it was like Wonder Woman Hush, it's the concept of Hush where like she's going on a tour of her world and you meet all of her characters. I think you would have more people on board for that. So Nick, why do you think Hush is the definitive Batman comic?
Well, it's like you said, it's basically just kind of like Bruce talking about like the status quo, like all the people in his life. It's got a really great story to it. Like if you just want one story to understand Batman, I would just basically give people Hush. That would be my that's how I would introduce people to Batman. If they've never read anything Batman and they want to understand Batman, I'd give them Hush.
Yes, and plus it goes into like Batman's own mind too, how he sees himself, so that works. Now let's go in terms of animated movies. What would you say if you could put one animated movie in front of someone and say, here's all you have to know about Batman? What would that be?
That's a little more difficult.
For me, I wouldn't pick Under the Red Hood, even though that's a good one. Probably, I mean, you could probably get away with Under the Red Hood. Could you get away with the Hush movie?
No.
No.
All right. How about you could honestly do the DeCamu Batman and Robin movie that like introduced Damien and just go with that.
You could.
So here's a question for you guys: what live action movie would you show?
I'm gonna get to that after animation.
But in terms of animation, for me, it would have to be Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah,
because you can't go wrong with that.
Plus, that's close enough to Batman's origin. So if you somehow find that one person that doesn't know who Batman is, it's close enough. He explains it. There you go. You're good. By the way, Britt watched that for the first time and she enjoyed it.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, I know. It's because she's not a fan of the DCAU, so she was kind of anti that. But Jid and I convinced her. Anyway, continuing on. Yeah, live action. What would you say is the definitive Batman movie?
Batman Begins.
Actually, that's not a bad. For a second there, Nick, I thought you were going to go old nostalgic fan and go with 89.
I thought about it for a second, and while I do enjoy 89, it is my favorite Batman movie. It's not the best representation of Batman as a whole, and you watch it like you can enjoy the character, enjoy the stuff, and enjoy the movie. But if you want a really good sense of what Batman is, I think Batman Begins. The other two, like I said, I'm not a big fan of Dark Knight and Rises, but I do love Batman Begins.
Yeah, Batman Begins, I think, is the best Batman movie of that trilogy because the voice was not grating, the suit actually looked really cool and intimidating, and
it goes into the essence of Batman. It's like the idea, he says, as a man, I could be broken, be killed, but as a symbol, it goes into psychology of it. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I really dig that one. How about you, Taladia?
I would have to say Batman Begins as well. Like the psychology is there, and if you watch the behind the scenes stuff for Batman Begins, I think it's Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale kind of explain it of what they tried to do for the film. So, like, if any new people want to watch a Batman film, I would say Batman Begins. Go ahead and watch that.
Yeah,
Mr. Wayne, what do you call that?
See, the interesting thing about Batman Begins they were talking about, because Nolan was a very interesting choice for it because he was not a comic book guy, but he surrounded himself with people that understood the character. And plus, he also read like a crap ton of Batman comics beforehand. This is back when you could when creatives, when they were signed onto a project, they actually did homework and learned about the characters that they were adapting. Isn't that a novel concept?
Yeah, I would have to agree. But I was gonna ask Jared, right? Because when Christopher Nolan did this film, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like when you watched it for the first time, did you feel like you could relate to him?
Yeah, because bear in mind, the Nolan movies was like one of my first exposures to Batman. This is before comics. It'd be way before I was into comics. So this is like my first introduction to the character. And the thing about it, until that point, you know, what's interesting is that there is a documentary on YouTube about the making of the trilogy. The really interesting thing that I didn't know and that I didn't realize until I thought about it, that was the first Batman origin movie ever.
You know what? You're right. That was the
yeah, because 89 was not his origin. He's already Batman. He's already established as Batman. So this was straight up his origin, who he is as Batman. So, and that was at a time when I think you needed to like remind people, here's Batman's origin. I think that movie is the reason why we haven't seen another Batman origin, because that was big enough where people were like, okay, there's enough of a generation that like, okay, I want to see, I get Batman's origin.
You know what I love about 89? The opening is actually a bit of a fake out. Because you see some parents, some kids coming, you think, oh, these parents, this is the origin story. But then Batman saves them. Or no.
What are you? I'm Batman.
Oh God.
I love that, and I think that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, but that was improvised.
So, fun fact: when Michael Keaton was when he was filming Spider-Man: Homecoming,
No, yeah.
like he would just randomly whisper into Tom Holland's ear, "I'm Batman."
Of course. And didn't they do an homage to '89 in that movie when like you see Vulture in the air in the moon? Yeah, they pretty much did that, which I'm like, okay, that's cool. I like that.
I'm sorry, Flash, you're just not fast enough. Like I can't believe the Marvel movie made that joke. Like that was so great.
That was like amazing.
That was deliberate. That was
definitely deliberate. Oh God, yes. So then we get to, and by the way, I think you can theorize me on this. I think it would have brought more people to the theaters for The Flash if they had gone with Bale instead of Keaton, because there's less of a generational gap for Keaton for Bale than there is for Keaton.
He doesn't want to come back. You know, you do realize that Warner Brothers offered him like something like as high as $50 million to come back for BVS.
Well, it wasn't like he doesn't want to come back. It's because he wants to come back under Christopher Nolan. He was very clear on that. No,
like, we could have had Batman. Like, honestly, I think if it would have had Bale come back as Batman Superman and have the Bale films be the Batman, I think it would have been a lot more successful.
Yeah. Well, it would have been a lot more successful had they not screwed up the movie. But beyond that,
imagine Christian Bale fighting Henry Cavill.
Nope, cannot see that. The thing about Batfleck is Batfleck looks like a Batman that could take on Superman.
I don't know. I think Christian Bale would just do some push-ups so he could fight Superman.
No, but my point is, let's say they were able to get Bale to come back. Let's say they just drove a dump truck full of cash into his front yard and was like, "Here, come back for just this one movie as Batman." I think more people would have shown up for Batman.
Yeah, because we're talking BVS or Flash.
Flash, because
the problem is how the Nolan films ended, where Batman's retired. So you essentially have to unretire him, which basically just ruins the ending of the movie.
What you could do?
You pull a Rise of they'd be essentially pulling a Rise of Skywalker. Somehow, Batman returned,
and they can call it. Batman Returns now is what you're telling me. But what they could have done is do it where like. They could have done the whole post Arkham Knight thing where he didn't really retire. He was just like, the Bruce Wayne is retired, but like bad creatures get attacked. Yeah, he's MIA.
Well, so you said basically you want Joseph Gordon-Levitt to come to appear, which basically just kind of like ruins the whole point of going to the Nolan films. You want the nostalgia factor. Oh wait, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's here. Why is he here?
Well, no. What you could do is Flash goes to him first and goes, and then eventually Robin is like, I can't. I'm not your guy. He is, and then they track down Bruce. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I like it. I'm saying this is what Warner Brothers would do, Nick. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm saying it's a Warner Brothers idea. That's the new thing.
It's not. It's definitely a Hamada idea.
Yeah, exactly. Because actually, I think Sarnoff is one of the said that. No, actually, it was Barbara Muschietti. She said that if they couldn't get Keaton, they would have gone to Bale.
Bale would have said no because
Bale would have said no. Yeah, because it's not
try to get him back for BVS. Like Bale, just I don't know. Like,
I mean, it would be more likely with BVS because Nolan was at least loosely involved with BVS, so maybe. But still, it's like, no, not with the Flash. But I was just saying, in the unlikely event they do that. But
if they couldn't get Keaton or Nolan or Bale, God, their options are pretty limited because, sure they could do Clooney, but I don't think he wanted to come back.
Well, we know what happened with Clooney at the end with Flash.
I mean, at that point, they don't have like I mean, if they made the movie like 10 years earlier, they could like imagine if they got Adam West to come back.
Oh God!
imagine
and they
they
actually
made
put
this
like the pows and the
No,
zaps on the screen.
I have a better idea.
Yeah.
What if they brought back Kevin Conroy, right? If the movie was done in 2019 or whatnot, right? And he would be
When it
the
was
live
supposed
action.
to come out originally.
I think
Yeah.
it was supposed to come out in 2019 originally, because you know what? They could to essentially do what they did in Crisis, only
Only better, yeah.
Only
Hey.
worse. Come on, let's be honest.
they would do it worse, but you can't. Well, then again, recently the studios are doing worse than the CW, which that itself.
Also, while we're talking about, we're on the topic of Kevin Conroy, I need to make a confession. I was wrong. The Crisis on Infinite Earths is a good send-off for him. I don't think Batman would be chasing after the Joker. I think he would be like with Alfred or whatever. But all that aside, as just a final performance of Kevin Conroy, dude goes out like a boss. I am fully willing to admit I was wrong.
Oh yeah. Oh, you mean the movie Crisis? Yeah, exactly. Because he's like, no, if I'm going out being Batman, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I can respect that.
I still don't like his performance in Suicide Squad.
No.
Whole argument of like, oh, this is the last performance. That part is null and void. I still don't like it, but that argument is gone.
Yes, exactly. At least they get this is the proper send off for Conroy. Let's face it. So,
And the DCAU.
And the DCAU, which I'm like, partly good riddance, but also I will. Here's the thing, though. Even if they wipe it out, it's not like they wiped it out of Max. I don't get. I get that people are like, oh my gosh, they used to erase my childhood, but I'm like, no, they didn't. Just go onto Max and watch the show.
Go to your shelf and grab the DVDs. Put them in your player.
That's the problem I have with this. Is they're like, they wiped out my child. No, they didn't. No one's coming to your house to grab your DVDs. It's not like they're not going to have them on Max anymore. That would be hilarious if they went full meta, where when you clicked on like anything DCAU, it would like Thanos snap away.
No, literally, it would be Thanos.
Yeah, exactly. All of a sudden, the gauntlet would pop up and you see her snap.
But Jared, I was gonna say, right? Imagine if Kevin Conroy didn't do the Crisis on Infinite Earths, not animated movie, but live action film, but did the Flash film instead, right? And furthermore, he put on the bat suit.
Yeah.
Oh, did you ever hear the story that Kevin Conroy told the one time he wore the bat suit for like a charity event? Like he's going down the California highway just as Batman. Look it up on YouTube. It is a great story.
Yeah, we'll check that out. But yeah, and I think it's safe to say that while he was alive, Conroy is there is no one that will surpass Conroy as the #1 animated Batman. No one, absolutely not. There are people that come close, but no one will take his spot as #1. That is firmly that crown is firmly on his head.
He is the Christopher Reeve of animated Batman.
Except it's less controversial to say he is the definitive animated Batman than it is with Christopher Reeve saying he's the definitive live-action Superman.
I don't know. A lot of people agree with me that he is.
There are a lot of people that say Henry Cavill is the definitive Superman. My point is you don't have that.
James Gunn certainly seems to think Reeve is.
Yes, exactly. But my point is it's not a controversial opinion to say Conroy. Now, to be clear, Roger Craig Smith and Bruce Greenwood and all those guys, they come close. Like maybe they can tie for #2, but no one is taking that #1 spot. No one. So going back to Batman, and the thing is like, to conclude, the real reason why Batman is like, and actually, Nick, in the beginning of the episode, you made an excellent point. Batman is a Marvel character, because if you look at the Marvel characters, most of them, or at least the popular ones, have little to no powers and just gadgets.
Iron
Man. Maybe, do you count Captain America?
Kind of, yeah. Because Captain America, while he is powerful, he still can be shot and killed, which they did demonstrate that in Civil War.
But except he was shot with a time gun and went back in time. comics.
Wait. That's actually what happened.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Because
I swear, comics has like the laziest retcons ever.
All right, so what they did, here's the story. So he's walking up the Capitol steps and he's shot and killed by what they think is Crossbones. But when they catch him, he goes, "No, I didn't kill him." It turns out that a villain with mind controlled Sharon Carter. So what happened is Crossbones shot him in the shoulder and Captain America collapsed. Then she ran up in the crowd and shot him in the stomach a few times. And then the superheroes are looking at the body and then it just vanishes. And they're like, what happened? So what Captain America does is he's traveling throughout time, kind of like the return of Bruce Wayne from Final Crisis. And he is inhabiting his body. So he's like in these different time periods. So he programs Vision in the past and goes, listen, at this date, activate this memory and tell Tony I'm traveling through time. I'm not dead.
What the frick?
Yes, exactly. That was my reaction. It's literally in the Brubaker run. He was like, no. Okay.
My God.
Vision, I'm going to schedule post this tweet. I need you to boost it pretty much.
This goes right up there with Superman isn't dead. He was just in a healing coma the entire time.
A Kryptonian heal. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
That is crazy.
That's the funniest part. He got shot with time bullets. And I'm like, that's the most comic book thing ever.
I swear Warner Brothers has they found a way to top Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has not armor-piercing, non-lethal rounds. They found a way to top WB with time bullets.
They topped Superboy Prime punching reality. Actually, no. There has to be something very BS to top that. But anyway, so that's where we're going to leave it. So drop us below what your favorite Batman movies, comics, media is. And Nick, any concluding thoughts about Batman?
Well, Batman is Batman, and he can beat anyone with prep time, including his own writers.
Okay, you know what? We're not going to wrap up real quick because I want to touch on that.
Oh, my God.
You brought up a good point because I know someone's going to put in the comments. I love Grant Morrison's Batman run, but arguably Morrison has done irreparable damage to Batman because now it's like Batman can beat anyone with prep time. That's starting his freaking run.
All right. Who did more damage to Batman? Morrison or Miller?
Miller arguably helped the character with Dark Knight Returns.
But he's a GD Batman.
But beforehand, he boosted the character with Dark Knight Returns. So I'm not going to say Frank Miller. Because, again, it gets to the point where you've created an audience that's like, Batman could beat everyone with prep time. And then, it's kind of funny. Comics Explained, shout out to you, Rob, said, if your character needs prep time to overcome a challenge, he's probably a crappy superhero. And I'm like, you got a point there. But
I don't necessarily agree with that, but I can see where he's coming from.
Yeah, but it's like, that's the thing. It's like, it leads to the whole, because, and I've made this joke before, Batman could beat Goku, because with prep time, I guarantee you he's fought someone like Goku.
See, the thing about Batman is, some of the greatest Batman moments are when he does out maneuver, like the whole dark side, like the outmaneuvering dark side. He doesn't beat Darkseid on a physical level. He outwits Darkseid, by being out ruthlessing. Like, I love that, that moment where, swear, and Darkseid just smiles. Or he's like, I respect you. Like, getting Darkseid's respect, that is the quintessential Batman moment to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And but here's the thing. He didn't physically beat Darkseid. He just outwitted him, the Hellspores, and he had the willpower to be like, yeah, you could kill me, but your Hellspores are going to ruin the planet. Like, he had the strength and the will. Like, that's Batman. It was like a quintessential Batman moment. He didn't punch Darkseid and whatever. That's Superman.
He also shot Darkseid with a gun. By the way, I reread Final Crisis, and according to Final Crisis and the Batman run, it wasn't the clone that shot Darkseid. It was actual Batman.
So Batman used a gun.
and he said, normally I've sworn off guns, but I'm going to make a once in a lifetime exception for you, Darkseid.
It
And he
doesn't
shot
count,
him,
Bruce. It doesn't count. It doesn't
and he
count.
shot him with a bullet designed to take out God. So I'm sorry, as far as Batman knew, Darkseid was dead. He even said, gotcha.
It doesn't count, Bruce. It doesn't count.
It doesn't count because he's a god. Exactly.
I love how the DCAU like made a whole big point of just like saying that.
Yeah. They tried so hard, and I'm just like, no. And I've seen people argue, well, that was the clone. Well, actually, if you read the comic, the clone like stumbles out of the cloning pod and just collapses, and it looked kind of like Clayface, so I imagine it's still forming. And then Batman breaks out, finds Darkseid, and then the gun scene happens, and then Superman comes in and finds the clone. That's what that is. That's what the actual scene is. You know how I know that? Because unlike Twitter, I read the comic. I have to make that distinction right there. But anyway, now we can wrap this up. So Taladia, your closing thoughts on Batman.
Well, Batman is rich, and that's his superpower. So
I'm rich. I need to drop.
He's Batman.
And he's Batman.
Because he's Batman.
Because he's Batman.
Yes, because he's Batman. It's like, it's kind of funny. Nick and I were covering like what was that? And he said because he's a ninja.
I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking. So in one of our shows, I was talking about how much of a BS thing that is, and you go, "Oh, you know why? It was G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra," and I brought up about how Storm Shadow apparently survived plunging into the Antarctic. It goes, and you went because ninja powers. That's why.
I mean, Batman survived a plunge through the if Batman can survive plunging into the atmosphere from space, I think Storm Shadow could survive a plunge.
I will say, you know what's kind of funny? In the DC Fortnite crossover, so the way it works is that Batman shows up in the Fortnite world, and like every day they wipe your memory, so it's so like you essentially reset. So Batman was writing notes on his armor saying, "You're here. This is why. This is who you can trust." And then eventually he and Storm Shadow started communicating. It was really funny.
Wait. What's this?
It's the DC Fortnite crossover.
Is this like an animated thing or whatever?
No, it's a comic. It's a comic.
Oh, God.
He was writing notes on his armor like, okay, so we're here. This is how you win. Just go do it.
So Batman actually does team up with Storm Shadow.
Snake Eyes, not Storm Shadow. I know. Old man moment. I know.
So I guarantee you somewhere, some 4-year-old man is like, oh my God, this is my best crossover ever.
Any like artists watching, if you want to shout out on next week's episode, please draw a fusion of Batman and Storm Shadow and DM it to me at Comics League JT.
Bat Shadow.
It's not Storm Shadow. Snake Eyes. Continuing on.
Bad Eyes. So Bad Eyes.
Bad Eyes, essentially. So yeah, so essentially stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs to General Zod. Zois and Max about